My name's Guerry. We're here in Castleford, Idaho, which is south central Idaho, down closer to the Nevada border. Largely irrigated by the Snake River. This particular ground we're on happens to be irrigated from deep wells. My family started in this area when my grandfather came as a sheep herder from the Basque Country in northern Spain in 1910. So we've been around this area for over 110 years. We started this program some years back of trying to convert from an intensive farming operation into just a livestock. We were always livestock and intensive farming, but we've kind of gone away from the intensive farming and gone to a livestock operation. We want to be a graze out operation, basically. We want to be able to maintain our livestock without having to come in a feeding situation on feed yards. The more they can stay out, stay separated, obviously big advantages from a herd health standpoint and from a production standpoint. So we needed a way to handle big numbers in a small area for our yearling cattle. We went away from taking our yearling cattle to a feedlot type situation and wanted to come to a graze out for the winter situation with our yearling cattle. We had some limited resources as to the quality of the ground that we had to do this on too. It's very thin soils. The area, as you can see behind us, is a very productive farming area, but you can't go out and acquire those lands or even lease those lands and cost effectively run livestock on them. So it put us back to these thinner soils, tougher soils, where we were going to have to make our living on this deal. So we needed a situation where we could maximize production, i.e. through soil health and through the quality of the seed product that we went with. We started out with some of the old line products that have been in the area for a long time. Good quality products, not quite the production that we were hoping for, to be totally honest with you. That's when we got together with a fellow by the name of Jed Bateman and got to working with the Barricade products. Since then, we've had tremendous amounts of production increases in our operation that we're trying to do. As a matter of fact, this field that we're standing in was just harvested last week and made 3.7 ton of grass hay. It has a strong legume in it of hay, and you know, in this country, a 3.5 ton straight alfalfa is a tremendous cutting on this better farm ground. So to take 3.7 ton grass hay off of this pivot was a real bonus. When we started this program, and again, like I said, we started out with some of the more old line grass products, but when we first got working with Jed, and in developing these grass fields, we used a lot of cover crop first. We used a lot of brassicas, a lot of turnips, green spirit as well, to use during the establishment of the grass itself. Green spirit obviously only lasts for 2 years, and so we knew we were going to be coming back in with a more long-term grass component as the green spirit went out. So when we started going back in, we put the Stockmaster on some of the better ground, and it is very productive as long as you can hold the moisture. We're a little bit limited in the amount of water we've got here, and so that becomes a determining factor in what we can and can't do. That's where the Barricade came in and became advantageous for us. We had tried a little Stockmaster in an instance where we had a limited amount of water, and it was effective, but not as effective as we wanted once again. And the Barricade, because of it being more drought tolerant, if you have the water, it produces almost with the Stockmaster, in our instance at least. But if you don't have the water, it will continue to produce better. And so if we were a little bit limited in how quickly we could get back with water and whatnot, the Barricade provided us an opportunity that we didn't have quite with the Stockmaster. And in all of these things, you're trying to tie what you're using back to your soil type and your water availability. Our overall operation is is like many operations in the state of Idaho. If you're going to have an operation of any size, you're going to operate on private land, public land, both BLM and Forest Service, state land, and we do. We're a patchwork situation from here. We run from here 20 miles west intermittently, and then about 45 miles south down into Nevada with our mother cow herd and with our sheep. What we were trying to develop this area for was our yearling cattle, the cattle that we used to go to the feedlot with to background, or replacement heifers that we tried to, we raised on hay largely over the winter and didn't get what we wanted in that situation either. And so we had wanted for years to come to a graze out program for our yearling cattle. But again, as I had said one other time, we were going to a feedlot that was owned by a friend and he needed the cattle. And so when he sold his feedlot to another outfit, it was the opportunity to move over. So we did, we moved at that time. And now today, we run 750 head of yearling cattle under these pivots, as well as putting up 100% of our hay needs for all the cattle that we do feed in the wintertime. We're largely graze out. Our mother cow herd grazes out on a winter allotment with supplemental protein. But we do feed our old cow herd. We feed a third of a ration to our yearling cattle, our yearling steers, and our feeder heifers, those that are spayed. But our replacement heifers, we don't supplemental feed. They are raised entirely on these grass fields on a year-round basis. And so what we're trying to do is raise a cow that is more ready to go into the desert and into that graze out type situation. This has afforded us that opportunity to do that. Grazing in these type situations is a tremendous asset to what we're trying to accomplish, not only from a standpoint of the grass, but also from a standpoint of soil health. I think in today's world, there's been a lot of research done as to how vital the livestock is to be being brought back onto these grounds, especially these thinner grounds. You know, for years, every operation around here had a certain amount of livestock, and they ran on it. But as time went on and farming got more intensive, we got away from the livestock component on these lands. And I understand why that happened. We were looking at production. We were trying to survive, make a living, do those kind of things. But if you've got an opportunity to bring livestock back into the picture again, it's going to be beneficial from a twofold standpoint. One, in the establishment of the product, and two, in the soil health. And we worked real hard. Again, in this area that we're working, it's deep well water. It happens to have a high salt content in the water. So we're using some calcium products to help us with the salt side of it. We're using some other products to help with the soil development, along with our fertilization program. And we're tracking that every year. We soil sample everything every year, and we track it on a spreadsheet so we can see that the progress that we're making between the products that we're using and the livestock on it. The beauty to it is we're able to have a year-round operation. We've been able to establish a year-round operation. We were able to use those cover crops, which are tremendously high in feed value, to raise those yearling cattle and get them through the winter months.